Say, what? A prophet didn't want people saved? No, man. Jonah didn't want these people saved. So God told him, hey, go to Nineveh, preach the gospel. And Jonah did that. So when Jonah preached the gospel, what did Jonah say? Did Jonah say, believe in the Messiah? Did Jonah say, look for Jesus Christ? No, God, Jonah just went there and said, hey, God gonna kill all of y'all in 40 days. That's all he said. His whole message, he walked through the city. All Jonah had was one single statement to make. Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. That's all he said. And what happened? What was the result? Now you say, oh, how can that save anybody? Listen, man, God took that. Who you think he got that message from? He got that message from God. God made those people realize that it was a prophet from God, a Jew, and they believed the message. So the people of Nineveh did what? They believed God. How do we know? How do you and I know the change that happened on the inside? How do we know that? Because of what they did. They proclaimed a fast. They put on sackcloth, the greatest to the least of them. It's what they did that proved to me and to you that they believe God. Did that mean because of what they did, that's why God saved them? Of course not, man. It's the results of being saved. And they decreed, and the king, everybody, see that? And God turned from his fierce anger and he saved all those people. Now, let me show you something. This is interesting since we're here. Look. Oh, look at Jonah. But salvation of these Gentiles displeased the prophet. And he was exceedingly angry. Oh my goodness. Unnatural, isn't it? Jonah said, God asked him a question. And look what he said. Look what Jonah says. Ah, Lord, was not this what I said when I was still in my country? He said it in his heart. God knew it was in his heart. Therefore, I fled previously to Tarshish, for I know that you are gracious and merciful God. He knows that. Slow to anger, abundant in loving kindness, one who relents from doing harm. Therefore, now, oh Lord, please take my life. Jonah wanted to die because God saved these Gentiles. Isn't that backwards? Anyhow, so God saved Nineveh. Why would God do such thing? Now, don't get this twisted. A couple of generations later, Nineveh reverted back to their old selves. God sent the prophet Nahum there, and he destroyed the whole place. That's why you can clearly see that there is no such thing as generational salvation. You as a parent can't save your children. Your parents can't save you. None of that mess, friend. Everybody got to come on their own. All right. Now, Nimrod was the one who founded Nineveh. Remember, we read that over here, right here. We see that it was Nimrod. Cush begat Nimrod, like a type of Antichrist. Nimrod founded this city right here. And that's why it was wicked, wicked, wicked. And God wanted to destroy it, just like he wanted to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. But the difference was God sent a prophet who stood up for God. Lot didn't do that. Even though he was vexed internally, he was afraid of the people and he said nothing. And all those people died. Lot is going to be one of those Christians that's going to be in heaven, and everything that he did is going to burn up. He has no good works. So God takes the people like the Antichrist, and God saved that city, right? Nineveh, great city. Then God took Egypt. Let's go to Assyria, like the Antichrist in Isaiah 19. See, well, why in the world is God doing that? Because he wants to show that he is, in fact, merciful and kind and loving and full of loving kindness and compassion. Yet he's righteous. Yet he's just. Yet he's true. Let's go look at Isaiah chapter 19 and watch what God says about Egypt and Assyria. Friend, this is astonishing, since both of these nations represents the Antichrist and the flesh and the world. Nineveh represents the world, Egypt represents the flesh, and Assyria represents the Antichrist. Each one of those places are types and shadows of the devil right here. Look at what God says. Oh, 19. Watch. Now he starts off by talking about the destruction first. Why? Because again, Egypt is a type of flesh, and Nineveh is a type of the world, and Assyria is a type of Satan. So he talks about the destruction of Egypt. He just goes on. The spirit of Egypt will fail in its midst. I will destroy their counsel, meaning he's going to take away the wisdom from the people. The waters will fail from the sea. And you got to remember, why would God say that about Egypt? Because they were totally dependent upon the Nile River. The whole country is like a desert. So the Nile River is what gave all the source of life from water to Egypt. So that's what he's talking about. Everything sown by the river will wither. Even the stuff that's right next to the way, get enough water, God says, I'm going to destroy it. Then he starts talking about the people themselves, and I'm going to destroy the wise people. I'm going to destroy the princes, all those people who were leading the armies. God said, I'm going to take all of those away. The Lord has mingled a perverse spirit in her midst. What did God say? I'm going to let the demons run wild. Why? Because they were worshiping idols. And God says every idol, behind every idol is a demon. So you know what God said? Instead of preaching the gospel like I did, Egypt is tied to her idols. Leave her alone. Then he says, in that day, Egypt would be like a woman and would be afraid and fear because of the waving of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he waves. And then he goes on about how he was going to destroy it. But then something happens. In that day, whoa, there's a change coming. What happened? Christ arrived. 5 cities in the land of Egypt will speak the language of Canaan, and swear the language of Canaan. Isn't Canaan cursed? No, man, he's talking about Israel. Who did God promise the land of Canaan? Israel. So what are they going to speak? Who's in the land of Canaan? Israel. What are they going to speak? They're going to speak the words of Israel, that is, the Lord. Swear by the Lord of hosts. One will be called the city of destruction. In that day, listen to God, in Egypt, there will be, listen, an altar. How many altars did the Egyptians have in the day this was written? They had tens, maybe even hundreds of idols. Friend, they even worship the dung beetle. the scarab. An altar, and only one altar, and it's going to be to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt. Go try to find one today, friend. And a pillar to the Lord at its border. What they used to have at the border, the Sphinx. What is that? That's a fake idol, a demon. And it will be for a sign, for a witness, a sign, yeah, to the Jews. For a witness to who? To the Gentiles. To the Lord of hosts. In the land of Egypt, friends. So God took the flesh and he converted it. This is salvation. For they will cry, who? To the Lord. Who's going to cry to the Lord? Egypt. Because of the oppressors, the demons. And he will send them a singular Savior and a mighty one. And Jesus Christ will deliver them. He delivers people from the flesh. Then the Lord will be known to Egypt. When? In that day. Friend, this is the millennium. Okay? That's the 1,000 years. That's what he's talking about. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. It's going to happen in the millennium. You'll be there if you're a believer. Then the Lord will be known in Egypt, and the Egyptians will know the Lord in that day. They're not going to do this before that day. And will make sacrifice and offering. Yes, they will make a vow to the Lord and perform it. Listen, God will empower them to perform it, just like he empowers you and I to perform it today. And the Lord will strike Egypt. He will strike and heal it. How did God heal us? How did he heal Egypt? Isaiah 53 tells us how. Peter tells us how. With his stripes you were healed. For it pleased the Lord to punish him, to scourge him, to make his soul an offering for sin. That's Isaiah 53. They will return to the Lord, and he will be entreated by them, and he will heal them. Heal them from what? Heal them from their adultery of idol worship. Heal them from their sins, friends. That was nothing. He's not talking about that physical body. That's useless garbage. In that day, notice he keeps saying that. In that day, there will be a highway. Friends, a highway. He mentioned this also somewhere else in Isaiah, and he said it would be a highway of holiness. From Egypt, listen, from the flesh to where Satan used to reside. What is God saying? God says, the world is mine. I own the title deed. I paid for it with my own blood. Satan, you can't have it. The flesh, you can't have it. Nineveh, the world, you cannot have it. And the Assyrian will come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyrian, and the Egyptians will serve with the Assyrians. Serve who? Serve God. Keep reading. In that day, Israel will be one of three. Israel will be one of three. With Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the land. So all that area, so Israel is going to have an expanded territory. Egypt is going to have an expanded territory, far greater than the border she has today. And Assyria is going to be over all those lands where you currently occupied by part of Iran, all of Iraq, part of Turkey. All of that's going to be called Assyria. So how do you know that? Go read the book, man. Blessing in the midst of the land, whom the Lord of hosts shall bless, saying, blessed is Egypt. What? Egypt, my people? Yes. And Assyria, the works of my hands. What? And Israel, my inheritance. Oh yeah, friend. There's coming a day where the Lord of hosts says, he is going to redeem. He redeemed from the world by saving Nineveh. He redeemed from the flesh by converting Egypt. He redeems from Satan by taking over Assyria, where the Assyrian thought he would rule the world and take out God. God says, no, no. I am Lord. I am the sovereign potentate. By me, all things are done. Friend, this is glorious. All right. So there you have it. That's what I wanted to show you. When we come back, friends, we're going to take a look and go here. And I'm going to just run through the names of the Antichrist that God gave us. Maybe it's in the later tonight. I don't know. Whenever we come back, that's what I'm going to do. Show you all the names, different names that the Bible gives us of the Antichrist, and you clearly see that there's a theme running through the book. Okay, friends, take care.